we could get into a conversation about herbal ice.
Oh yeah, herbal ice sounds interesting.
Herbal ice is mixture of three herbs. Let's see if I remember which three. Huang Bo, Huang Qin, and Da Huang. What you're gonna notice is you're gonna notice this word Huang in it, which means yellow in Chinese. And typically, yellow herbs, a certain kind of like chalky powder yellow, are very bitter. And bitter herbs that are yellow typically get rid of bad bacteria. They're antibiotics. So I got it from a very old source that was like a martial arts source, or like an old Chinese like war formula book. So how to bring herbs in your backpack, so in case you get cut or stabbed or bitten by an animal or whatever. And I was teaching kung fu at the time, and I was trying to find ways to reduce swelling. After we hit each other or whatever, and came across this formula, made a whole bunch of it, and started to use it. And over the years, the one memorable or two memorable times I used it were both cat bites. So one day, my friend brings over kittens, and I was gonna maybe adopt a kitten. I had a couple of dogs at the time, so I just wanted to see if they'd get along with the kitten. And they were fine. I mean, they were just kind of sniffing around, being like, "What's that?" And the kitten freaked out, latched itself to my arm, and it was feral. So, probably a lot of dirty things in its mouth. And anyway, cat bites are known to cause trouble.
Mm.
And I got the herbal ice, I freaked out. I probably put way too much. I put like quarter cup, half a cup in some hot water to steep it really quick. And then as soon as I could take it, I like soaked my hand in it. And not only did the cat, like, I have some scarring, I think, that are very faint. You probably can't even see it on camera, but I have like a place where the cat like dug his fangs in here, the kitten, I mean. And then like the guy was like hanging off my arm. The little kitten was hanging off my arm. I was like, "Oh, you latched on there." Like, my friend was freaking out, but I wasn't freaking out. I was like, "Oh, you bit me." Or he's like latched on like a pit bull. Oh, thanks for the follow, Big Burrows Teal. I wonder if you're one of my friends.
That's my friend.
Hey, so why are there only three viewers? Like, Nigel's supposed to be here, I'm here, you're here. David's supposed to be lurking. Maybe his phone turned off on accident, because then it cuts you off when he's just lurking. But I don't have time. Anyway, the cat latched onto my hand, and I just soaked it in there. But no huge scarring, because I've been bit before, like my sister's pit bull terrier. I'm a friend of the show. Right? Like, there's only the two of us.
Hey.
Hi. Well, welcome. Like, I got bitten by my sister's dog, and there are huge scars. So when you get bitten by an animal in Chinese medicine, it's considered poison, right? Or you get cut, even if you get cut by metal, it's also considered poison. So you wanna leave the wound open, soak your hand in it, and then wait till the blood comes out, till it starts to, until like the water starts to come out, until it bleeds clear. You want to get all that poisonous blood out. So I did, and it hardly scarred. I was so surprised. It took like decades. I got bit when I was a teenager, and it was raised. These scars were raised from that bite until like 30s, and it's still a little raised. What I do if I wanted to get rid of this scar or make it drop down a little bit, is I would do something called a 7-star needle. And I guess this is like, it's like the head of the needle is like that, and it has just spikes on it. And I just like spike my hand and get it to bleed. I did that for a while, out of vanity, and then I got bored and I stopped doing it. But I'm sure if I kept doing it, eventually it would heal. And I think I probably could do it to my face, like microdermabrasion my face like that, because they do for beauty in Chinese medicine. It's a little bloody though, so people don't like it. But after it heals a little. But it's very small. Like you do that anyway with like tattooing. Like it's very small. But it stimulates your skin to grow again. Anyway, herbal ice. I call it herbal ice because I was trying to inform folks about ice. I was fighting a fight. I was fighting a misconception fight. So a physician named Gabe Merkin, you can look this up. Gabe, Gabe, Merkin, Mirkin, was the physician that started the acronym RICE. And all like physical therapists or whatever, they follow it because it's easy to remember. So it stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Rest is fine. Ice is not fine. Compression is fine, and elevation is fine. But ice slows down your healing process by a lot. It does stop the bleeding, so if you need it to stop the bleeding, that's fine. We're in a first world country for the most part. I don't know where everyone else is going to be from, but at least in America, we can get our hands on ice. But thousands of years ago, at least 500 years ago, if not 1,000 years ago, we used herbal ice to stop the swelling. So the properties of the herbal ice is it's very antibiotic. I don't think people necessarily will die from bleeding out, but they will die from the infection after. If you listen to war stories and all that, like people survive getting shot, they survive getting cut, they survive all kinds of brutal attacks. They don't survive the infection. Once it goes systemic, a lot of your important organs shut down. So the herbal ice draws out the poison, sanitizes the area without ice. Ice, if you think of what coldness does, ice slows things down, including blood flow. So if you're bleeding out to death, it's helpful. If you want to stop the internal bleeding, immediately put ice on it and it'll slow it down in that area. But it will also, because you need blood to repair the area, it will also slow healing down. Not only will it slow healing down, but you might develop clots that don't move very much, and eventually blood and all back up, and you'll have pain in that area. What I mean by pain in that area is that when you press it, you'll say, "Ooh, it hurts right there." When it hurts right there, either you broke something or there's a clot, there's a blood or chi stagnation there in that local area, and that is often caused by ice, which means you can't get nutrition to the area, you can't get the old stuff out. It'll numb the pain, but it won't fix the problem. Herbal ice will not numb the pain, but it'll get the blood flowing, it'll get the bacteria out. Part of your pain is when the bacteria give off its waste, bacteria poop or whatever, it'll build up in that area, becoming more um, infected. So wounds that are take long time or difficult to heal, it's not necessarily because your body's immune system is low. It's just that the bacterial load or the amount of bacteria that are in the area um, is too much for your body to handle. Bacteria multiply quickly. Some bacteria multiply quickly, especially the ones that kind of hurt you. In 4 hours, in 4 hours, if you ingest it and you're like me, your digestion had been stripped from antibiotics as a child, within 4 hours, and it's almost magical that number, 4 hours. I know from experience, repeated experience, that it takes right about that time for you to get food poisoning. It wasn't the food's fault, it's your digestion's fault for the most part. And I would know whether or not I was nauseous, just feeling nauseous because of I wasn't digesting properly, or I was getting food poisoning because of the hour. So let's say I ate at 9 o'clock at night and I woke up 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning feeling nauseous. I knew it was food poisoning. And I would decide just to throw up and get as much of the bacteria out as possible. I found that works the best. Throw up as quickly as possible. Sorry, I'm an expert at that. Like, you'll probably hear that story over and over and over. But folks should know, Like my mom, she was a working woman, and I grew up during a time. I don't know how long this lasted, where I think it must have been just after the war. I was born in 19. Well, should I say it on public? Maybe I shouldn't say, but I was born. If you want to look it up, during the time where doctors, my mom's doctor recommended to her, and nothing against my mom, like no hard feelings at all, but they recommended that she don't even start breastfeeding because she had to stop very soon.
Oh, because she was working.
Because she was working, yeah. She was going to go right back to work. So I went to a babysitter, which is fine. I love my babysitter. But I got I didn't get any colostrum. I didn't get any like the immediate immune system stuff. And I'm not just saying the immune system stuff, but maybe as a baby, you want your mother. So by the time, without giving away like my birthday and all that information, few weeks after I was born, my mom said she heard the eeriest silence. She heard a silence that was disturbing, and I had gone into convulsions. And perhaps as a child, I tried to die. Maybe I just tried to die, because my immune system might have been shot, or lack of from neglect, right? So the doctors were trying to train her to train me to be alone as an infant, as a brand new baby. You can look it up when they were doing that, and that's about the time I was born. So they would say, like, leave her alone. Don't pick the baby up. Don't ever pick the baby up, and don't feed it.
Crazy.
Oh, true story. So I got sick a lot, and then my antibiotic life happened, and my frequent visits to the doctor and the hospital began. But there was a lot of antibiotics involved in that, which tore up my digestion, which made me have food poisoning. You want to blame everyone else. Food poisoning at least once, twice, 3 times a year. which was a huge inconvenience for my mom. And I could see her getting tired of like taking off work, and Hawaii's not a cheap place to grow up. So people had to work, and it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta be late for work again because I gotta take you to the doctor. And the stress it caused our family, like, just that kind of like, I don't know. you could get a chip on your shoulder about science that way, which I kind of did because it wasn't fixed until I went holistic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I went into this field. And I was looking at, I have a huge family, and I was looking at everyone else, the way they suffer, because I suffered. So I was like really concerned about everyone else in my family, and I wanted to fix everyone. So I went into this field, and that's sort of my mission now, to get the knowledge out, because the path, the path your life takes can be very different. It can be where you're on medication after medication, tearing up your liver, your kidneys. The heart medication hurts the kidneys, the kidney medication hurts the heart, and the only thing you have to look forward to is the fight that the doctors will have about who killed you first. Was it the kidneys or the heart? Or the liver? Like my dad was on so much medication. He had ascites, which is like a liver problem. And that was a very painful way to go. And he just had all this trust in doctors, which you should have if they're doctors, I mean, but where I think our conventional allopathic medicine fails is in how to live life first, how to live life healthy first. So allopathic medicine, Western medicine, not allopathic medicine. Allopathic means like against, like, we should look it up. We should look up the definition. It's like against the disease, and then holistic medicine is in harmony with nature. So anyway, let me look it up. Let me Google it.
Symptoms of the disease rather than the underlying cause.
Thank you. So symptoms of the disease rather than the underlying cause. Okay, so yeah, allopathy treats symptoms, which is fine. In some diseases, I can think of one disease in particular where it's very important to treat the symptom, and you'll have an allopathic strategy, which is... Hi, who's this? Hi! Twitch, Irma. Oh, Irma! Hi, Irma! Twitch, Irma. How to live life first. Yep. I am in. Sweet rise. Oh, sweet rise to you. So allopathy is how to treat the symptoms, and one symptom you should always treat allopathically plus holistically is cough, because coughing can cause scarring in your throat. For the most part, I usually, if the patient can be with me, like can be patient with me, I will go after the root of the problem. Sometimes you don't see the root of the problem take effect for maybe a year, 2 years. But like treating your trees or your plants, when you fix the roots, when I grow a new plant and I fix the roots, like my friend gave me some greens, some collard greens, and I think it took a good year for the thing to get established. It looked sick. The bugs ate all the leaves. I'm like, man, it's dead. He gave me like 3 plants. I put them in the ground. And he's like, it's not dead. Just let it alone. Leave it go. Let it alone. Let it go. And so I did. I'm like, if it died, then at least we can start over. You can give me more plants. But it took off this year. And he gave it to me, I want to say a year ago. So if a plant will take that long, just to get established, just let it alone. When you get treated with holistic medicine, just change your lifestyle here and there a little bit. You will get better. One day you're just gonna blossom. And you're going to say, oh, it happened all in one day. No, no, no. It happened because you put together a series of care for your roots. Whether there are three pillars to Ayurveda: sleep, diet, and exercise. So we always talk about, hey, how's your sleep going? Hey, how's your diet going? And then how are you exercising? I have a bone to pick with exercise. Like I had a bone to pick with so many things. What was it? Ice, right? Like I have a bone to pick with ice. And I have a bone to pick with what did I just say? Thanks for being here. Exercise, yeah. So our at least our Western thoughts on exercise. I hear no pain, no gain. I don't like that at all. I hear go big or go home. I don't like that at all. So I do a bit of like martial arts, and I guess I'll get outed about this soon enough. So I do Kung Fu and Tai Chi. And for clout, I guess I'll say I'm one of the lineage holders of those styles. 36th generation master from originally from Shaolin, with our roots going back to Damo or Mahakashapya, which was a disciple of the Buddha. But anyway, just for clout, you know, in Kung Fu Tai Chi, you want like small gains every day. In Japan, they call this Kaizen. Kaizen is like small changes in the right direction every day. You also hear it in, I don't know if it's in Zen or in Taoism, chop wood, carry water. But to me, that's very Japanese, chop wood, carry water. Like every day you would just, chop the wood, get strong like that. So when I was in LA most of the time, I would garden and I would just kind of like dig a hole. Are these stories okay? Sharisa, should we just go like do something?
No, I think it ties in like how it just relates,
Oh, thank you. Okay. So I had a bleeding. I bled, menstrually bled at some point for over a month. I want to say over 2 months. Even my students were getting kind of worried, in class. I would have classes like this in a community center, and they were getting worried because I was turning pale.
Oh, wow.
And a little gray, but I felt fine. I felt great. It's because of the training. I'm not sure if I'm going to suffer when I die, because I can't. It does it. Anyway, meditation can take you there. We can go there later. But I was like a walking. I was very depleted of blood. I did feel a little bit weaker, and a little tired. and that's probably how I'll go. A little weaker, a little tired. And so I wanted to build back. I was like, I need to get back to exercising. And of course, I'm the teacher, right? So I'm the master of this dojo. And nobody dare criticize me, right? But they kept it to themselves until my color returned. They admitted they were worried. But no one said anything. So I was at home and I was like, I went out in the sun, and the sun was depleting me. When you don't have enough blood, the heart gets weak. And one thing we say in Chinese medicine, and I hope you can make a whole bunch of clips, and I hope this is being recorded. But one thing we say in Chinese medicine is that the heart loathes heat, or the heart hates heat. So if your heart is not strong because you've bled for a long time, stay out of the sun. But I was like, I'm really pale. This Hawaiian girl needs to get in the sun. So I went into the sun and I got my shovel because I like to dig holes. I've always liked to dig holes. Since I was a kid, it's one of the ways I like exercised. I have like a farmer's build, you know. I did lift weights, but I have a farmer's build. But I took my shovel and I dug it in and I took one scoop out and I was tired. It has never happened to me before. But then the next day, I went out and I could dig like 3 shovels full. And then I went into the shade and I relaxed. And this ties into Chinese medicine and pillars of Ayurveda. I mean, exercise, but not the strenuous exercise that we overdo in the West. I didn't hit the gym like full blast day one. I think the difference or the fundamental belief is that in Western and Eastern thought is in Western thought, I think that your body's wrong, just push through it. That'll account for several injuries, right? Pushing through things, unless you're a professional athlete and you're getting paid for that and that's your life, you know, you'll have to push through it. But in terms of longevity and health, the Eastern mindset is the mindset of preservation. So Asian moms, they don't want their kids doing any sports that are contact sports. So you'll see Asians in like ping pong, right? Badminton. Just recently that the knowledge is fading or the traditions are fading. And what I can imagine what happens at home is that you say, Mom, I want to play football, and your Asian mom says, no way. And you say, why not? And they forget why not. Usually they'll say, because if you get an injury, you can't get rid of the injury for a lifetime. You will always have a weak spot. And I find that to be true. I tore my shoulder trying to climb a fence in high school. And it's still kind of weak. I tore my knee during martial arts in college, and it's not 100%. It's way better than anything else. No surgeries or anything else. It's way better than how I see athletes recover. But Mom was right. It's not 100%. I go one wheeling. I like fell at least 3 times now. Hit my head at least 3 times. It's only been like a week or so now. The first time I hit my head was in October. It's May now, and 8-9 months after. And it took like a month or so for me to do this with my head and not feel dizzy. I have so many concussions. Like, I take brain herbs. Yada, yada, yada. We can go off on tangents all day. So, I think I'm going to stop there because I'm supposed to do this winter cold dewy season for Ayurveda. I'm glad Coach Irma lurked. She got the notification. Yeah. All right. So this is actually the last class for seasonal that we are testing out on Twitch. This will probably be available on teachable.com in the future. That you can buy, but yeah, enjoy the free class today. Usually people pay about to be in a class like this with Charisse is about $100 a month, and where we can discuss your personal applications. And I know we say it's supposed to be an hour class, but we typically stay a bit longer than that. But typically people will buy a bottle of herbs, which is about $90, and then you get this personal attention on Zoom for a month with your herbs. So it doesn't cost you anything more. You get your herbs, and then you get both of these things for the same amount. As long as I can handle it. I think Zoom I can handle up to 50 people, but I can't give 50 people personal attention. So if the classes grow, then the classes grow. Or we limit it to like 8 to 12 people, probably. Anyway, it's a freebie. It's a no-brainer. If you're gonna buy herbs anyway, I recommend you take advantage of coming to class because we can have a discussion. And how often can you have a discussion with your doctor? I think probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, not hours a week. Which I think is necessary for your doctor to get to know you. Like, who can know you in 5 minutes? When I have initial exams, I typically leave 2 hours, 3 sessions of 2 hours each, about 6 hours, for us to get acquainted and for me to really flesh out your health history in the past. Now, just because this is kind of new, I'm going to say that Ayurveda has 6 seasons. Every 2 months, the weather is significantly different. January through March, every 2 months. January through mid-January through mid-March, mid-March through mid-May, mid-May through mid-July, mid-July through mid-September, mid-September through mid-November, then mid-November through mid-January, then it starts over again. If you are from one of those cultures that names your months by number, like Japan or China, we say Japan is the first month, February is the second month. You know, even if Chinese New Year is somewhere around February sometime, still the first month is still January, and February still is the second month. Okay, third month. Fourth month is April. Fifth month is May. So the easy way to memorize this is every odd numbered month, in the middle of every odd numbered month, you are changing seasons. I'll probably never stop saying that all flavors should be eaten at every meal. As long as in the West we are extreme in our thinking, I will emphasize all flavors should be eaten at every meal. If your flavors are not balanced and you demonize something like sugar, yep, that's going to trigger some folks. You demonize something like sweet, then you're going to have cravings. And at some point, you can, like, people who have been very disciplined, very strong-willed, who can stay away from sweets, I notice eventually they have pain in their muscles. You need some sugar. Not coincidentally, I suppose, the sweet flavor belongs to the spleen in Chinese medicine. The spleen and stomach, and the spleen and stomach rule the muscles. So a lot of times these people will have osteoarthritis, they'll have dry joints, they will be thin. That is not necessarily good. They will be very thin. And that has to do with the earth element of the stomach in Chinese medicine. So please eat all flavors at every meal. Last night, I made some teriyaki sauce, and I put monk fruit as my sweetener instead of regular sugar. Yeah, because for me, my sugar came from my rice, but I needed the balance in my teriyaki sauce. Or is this not teriyaki sauce? What you have is what we call adobo in Hawaii, which is like half soy sauce, half vinegar. You kind of like cook your protein in half soy sauce, half vinegar, and that makes adobo. Every season, and let's move on, every season encourages a certain flavor profile. This may be a bit too advanced for some, but every season has its dangers. Like summer is hot, let's say. Let's simplify it. Summer is hot. So you should have foods that have a cool nature. The foods that have a cool nature happen to be sweet, gently sour. What else has earth in it? Astringent. Has a cool nature. Even bitter can help cool you down. And you should tailor your own health and needs in real time. This is, if you do know your birthday, birth time, birthplace, we can calculate your Vata Pitta Kapha according to your astrological, sorry, I gotta move this, astrology. Right. So Ayurveda has something called Vata, which is like the space wind elements. And Vata is typically moving, right? So Vata's diseases are going to typically also be back pain, stabbing back pain, sciatica, constipation. First thing I think with constipation and sciatica is Vata. And then I think about what Vata qualities are there. And the first thing I think of is dry. Are you getting enough water? If you don't sleep enough, you're also drying yourself out. If you don't sleep properly overnight, you'll dry out. You'll notice if you stay up overnight that the kind of thirst you have, the kind of dryness you have in your mouth is different than staying up during the day. So when I think of Vata, I think of like sharp stabbing pains, wind, dryness. Vata accumulates in the summer. It gets high, it gets aggravated. That means you'll have the most pain somewhere around mid-July through mid-September. It also can be high in winter when it's dry and cold. Okay? So we're going to talk about winter today a little bit. Vata naturally decreases in the autumn when it's humid and hot. See how humid and hot. Humid actually is the opposite of dry. So that's why Vata calms down naturally when it's humid. We are talking about winter today, so Kapha is very relevant. It accumulates in the winter. That doesn't mean you pay for it in the winter. Kapha diseases are things around the throat, the chest, especially congestion. If you are having like eye boogers in the morning, that's Kapha also. It's undigested food when you're sleeping coming up through your digestion and lodging itself in your channels, in your sinuses. When I eat late, that's what happens. I notice in the morning. You shouldn't have that. Like when I stopped eating a few days ago, I just wasn't hungry. Like 3 o'clock, I had my last meal. No eye boogers next morning. Everything had been properly digested. No gunk coming up. That means my food was resting properly in my large intestine and not in my stomach or in the top part of my small intestine probably. Or in my throat, for that matter. Kapha, you'll pay for kapha in the spring. That's when people say they have like seasonal allergies. Their nose starts running, their eye starts running. And they will put up with it for a little while until they get really irritated with it. Sometimes in April or even May. But please notice, in May, kapha starts to naturally decrease. So your sinus problems start to naturally go away in the summer. Just when you're so irritated about having it, you come see me and you think I'm some miracle worker, that your sinuses got better because you saw the acupuncturist. No, it can be because of the timing. It can be just because it's summer. So I don't take credit for that. I try to tell them, it's the season. But people who haven't been through this class, they have brushed me off and said, "No, you're a good doctor." And I was like, "Please don't think that. It was just your timing. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. We can't know until we treat your sinuses next year. And they may not come back next year if you don't accumulate kapha or the water element in the winter. Mainly don't overeat sweets in the winter. I know it's cookie season. I know it's pie season. And most people can handle that, and that is the time you're supposed to eat sweets. But if you have a sinus problem every spring, I would recommend you cut down a lot on the sweets in the winter. What does winter have to say about pitta? This is when pitta people, high blood pressure naturally can go down. Nosebleeds typically don't happen very much in the winter. It can still happen. You can still be off balance, but not very much in general. In general, remember, if you apply ice to your body, the blood stops. It's like applying ice, but in nature, to your blood, so it slows down a little bit. You cool off. If you have any burning diseases like acid reflux, it should be a little better in the winter, depending on what you're eating, right? You can aggravate it. I mean, don't take that as a challenge. Like, you can aggravate it, but it won't be as bad as in the fall. Somebody out of spite's gonna do it and be like, "You said." That's on you. In Eastern medicine, we try to work in harmony with our physicians, and it's not like we're running an experiment. If you can mess yourself up, oh, you can.
Right.
You really try. I have this calendar. Maybe someone can make it prettier. This was the best I could do. But this tells you visually, this is something, once you learn Ayurveda, I think I would print and put on my refrigerator. Or
I saved it in.
Huh?
I saved the screenshot in my notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good reference.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on my fridge. In LA, I should put it on my fridge here. Maybe in my car. Maybe in my car. Maybe in my travel. Maybe on my phone. Maybe as my... I can't bear to put this ugly thing on as my screen, my background. But it's helpful to remind yourself. We're May 20th, mid-May, here we are. What's happening May 20th or in mid-May? We are... But as of tomorrow, we are squarely in summer. And Vata and Pitta will accumulate. I've already noticed some windy days here in Las Vegas. I've already noticed some 90-something degree days here in Las Vegas. It's starting already. There will be winds when the day turns into night and night turns into day, which will be fairly drying because of the heat. Because of the heat, there will be evaporation. So there will be heat, there will be drying, but you won't feel bad yet. You'll feel bad if you mess up. If you mess up on Vata, you'll pay for it mid-July, after 4th of July. Somewhere closer to August, you'll get your sharp stabbing pains will be worse, or have a chance, I shouldn't say will be, but have a chance to be worse. So what you want to do as of now is you want to hydrate a lot now. You want to mitigate Vata. You want to calm it down. It's not a bad time to have some cooler soups, like mung bean soup, okay? So you cook your mung beans, you put a little bit of ice sugar If you don't know what ice sugar is, you can just go to, I hope you have an Asian supermarket. H Mart, Mitsuwa, Tokyo Central, 99 Ranch. You can just go there, and perhaps one day I'll bring my ice sugar out and I'll show you, or we'll cook it together on stream. But ooh, that's so delicious. Just like putting it in your instant pot, or just putting it on the stove, cooking the mung beans until gotta be whole green mung beans until the skin splits, and then mixing in ice sugar or cooking it with that. It's a dessert. You can put in jujubes, which are little red date things. You can put in white wood or mushrooms. Oh, I'm realizing how much we have to stream some of this stuff. You can put in
Might do like a cooking session.
for real. Yes,
Talk about a lot of recipes.
I do. I mean, you know, cooking has become my love language. When I want to like show love to myself or other folks, I'll cook something for you. I want you to be healthy in that way, you know? And I think that's where people don't have time. So serve acts of service, and cooking's one of them. I'd be happy to stream that. Too bad you can't be here to eat it, you know? But maybe I'll bring some for you. But you just keep that in your fridge all summer long. Like, you know, I know Coach Irma, if I make a big batch, it's Hawaiian style. Like, I'll make a big batch and then I'll just give it to people who I think would benefit. And you just keep it in your fridge and eat off of that for a few days. That would be very good for both vata and pitta accumulation. Snack on that. That's your dessert. We can also put monk fruit in it if you're diabetic. But sugar is cooling. That kind of sugar also. Ice sugar, I gotta go deeper into the research. So all of you nerds out there, if you want to go deep into the research, look up if ice sugar. It's also called, what else is it called? Ice sugar, glass sugar, rock sugar. See if you can find the research. I'm sure it's correct that it doesn't spike your insulin. It's the kind of sugar you can have. And it's real. So what they just crystallized sugar. The chemistry in this science is very good. The chemistry knowledge, not in the Western way of like what atoms and molecules are binding, but the effects processing has on different substances. It's almost a material science. I like, it amazes me so much still, and I've been doing this for decades, and I'm still like, wow, who thought of that? You know. We're not gonna go over this one right now. I want to get into the good stuff. Right. Oh, we should be talking about winter. What the heck? Let me go back to the calendar. All right, in winter is mid-November through mid-January. And pitta naturally decreases and kapha accumulates. So if you know Ayurveda about kapha is made up of the sweet taste mostly, soil element. I say soil instead of earth. I'm trying to correct that because we also do Jyotish astrology, and to me, earth is a planet. So your ascendant represents earth, right? It's your point of view. What's coming over your horizon at that time, your ascendant, that represents earth. So anyway, the soil element and the water element increases in the winter. Think of it like snow gathering on the mountain. All of that snow is water solid, is water in solid form. And when the earth heats up, it will start melting into water. into liquid. It's all water. It will start melting into a liquid. So this is exactly the paradigm that we're talking about in Ayurveda. Is in the winter we think like the water in your sinuses are freezing, and they kind of are. We were talking about how cold slows down your blood flow, and look, your face is exposed usually to the elements the most. No matter what you're wearing a hat, you're wearing earmuffs, you're wearing a scarf, but your face is usually always exposed because you want to breathe, right? I know COVID had us wearing these masks, but I don't see a lot of people using these masks to protect against the cold in temperate climates. Like, not that cold you have to wear a mask in Los Angeles or Vegas, but if you go to like Michigan or Buffalo, New York, or Canada, or you start wearing protection. Like even Oregon, when I was skiing, you start wearing like face protection. But sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I just skied with just goggles on. Sometimes just sunglasses. So anyway, your face is exposed, and when your face is exposed, when you're sleeping to this cold, you don't when you're sleeping and it's cold and this cold air goes into your nose and you're not aware because you're sleeping, right? You get up, you have a stuffy nose. The nose isn't stuffed with anything. The blood vessels have shrunk to preserve heat, and it couldn't take away the junk from your mucous membranes, and you didn't stuff anything in your nose. Your tissues have become swollen, taking up space because they're bigger. Yeah, that happens all winter until it's warm enough by nature. The frequency of warmth is there enough that your tissue starts to let go of what it was holding, and it starts to leak out of your face, and it starts to itch because it's really old stuff. It's months old. That can happen as early as February. We call January through March cold, dewy. It's still winter, but we call it the cold, dewy season. You can start melting here. I've had people come to me with sinus issues as early as I can remember in February. As far as I can remember, as early as February. This year was February. Might have been January in Los Angeles because of the fires. The fires were somewhere like... Yeah?
January. Oh, bad.
Yeah, just this year because of the fires, right?
Yeah, definitely a lot worse with the smoke, and like, you just didn't know what was in the air, so I wore a mask for like weeks.
Heck yeah. I made Nigel wear one too. I said, I don't care if you look funny at the farmer's market, wear a mask. Huh?
I don't turn my air purifier off.
Oh, heck yeah. It's still there.
Off like once or twice since, but I still don't really trust the air here.
So I created a lung detox. Mm-hmm. I already had a couple of formulas called Cough Drop and Autumn Cough, but we went a little further. We bought the expensive stuff and we put it into lung detox because the fires were so severe. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was in Las Vegas at the time, but I cried for the people in Los Angeles. At first, you watch the news and you wonder because sometimes the news exaggerates. Like if you see a hurricane in Hawaii, no one's really panicking. Hurricanes happen all the time. Unless it's a really bad one. Like tsunami warnings all the time. No one cares. But everyone else panics. Oh my God, Hawaii's having a hurricane.
That's how it is for me. Like every time it's an earthquake or something going on. Okay, guys, this is normal, but thanks for hitting me.
Yeah.
Always ask me about fires, and I'm like, guys, I'm literally in the middle of the city. There's nothing to burn.
Yeah, the asphalt.
Like people don't understand that because they don't, know how LA's set up. Don't realize like where the hills are in comparison. But but this time it wasn't me directly, but I knew I have family near every single fire. Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
I knew folks that lost their homes from Altadena to Santa Monica.
Yeah, they still have the PCH clothes.
Oof, it's May now. I know on Twitch, since we record things, we have to timestamp. It's May 20th, 2025. And the fires happened January something, early January, close to New Year. I remember putting out my formula like January 9th, so days after the fire started. So maybe January 7th, 8th, the fire started. It was really bad. But maybe we have to think, maybe we're also desensitized to having a lot of little earthquakes,
Mm-hmm.
Like in Hawaii, we have a lot of hurricanes, so, but it is dangerous. It is dangerous. I'm not going to get into another story, but it is dangerous. But we'll go back. The reason I don't have anything here is because I can't find any proof in the classics to put something here. Like it doesn't say. It says winter, but I don't know if I should assume the whole winter this happens. I consider this a huge transition period, that's all. Pitta still should be naturally decreased because it's still pretty cold. In fact, I would feel comfortable. No, I wouldn't. I don't like to go off and do my own thing without proof. But I like to present according to the classics, and then you can use your own reasonableness. Like this year, it's not that cold kind of thing, or this year it's really cold. So some years you might notice in January, February, March, people will say spring came early this year, right? So maybe that's why Ayurveda didn't put winter, like winter here. It's called cold dewy. It's not called winter anymore. It's called cold dewy. Still cold, but you don't know when it's going to thaw out. There's a tropically based zodiac. Tropical means seasonally based zodiac in Chinese medicine called stems and branches. That they calculate what the weather is going to be like. I think every ancient culture calculated weather because they had to live off of it. Because it was so, crucial that they knew how the crops were going to go that year because it meant starvation. So there is a calculation. Like sometimes my teacher, I don't get to see him as much anymore. He's partly retired. Jimmy Chang, and he hardly jumps on Zoom anymore. And I don't want to bother him, but once in a while before Chinese New Year, he would mention what kind of year it was. This year is going to be exceptionally humid. This year is going to be exceptionally hot. Prepare for this. Prepare for this. Like as a herbalist, I'd like to know what kind of year is coming up because I'd like to know what kind of diseases are coming up, so I know what herbs to gather. I have a library of over 300 something individual herbs that I know how to use. The pharmacopoeia has thousands. I'm not yet versed in all of them, nor are all of them available to us. But I have a repertoire of about 300 something, maybe 400 by now, herbs that we know which herb is best friends with which herb, which means they work synergistically together. We know which herbs hate each other, which means we don't put them in the same formula. We keep them separate. We know which ones are growing. We know which ones can be substituted. We know which ones cannot be substituted. And we know what kind of season it's going to be, so we know which herbs we have to keep in stock or keep valuable. So all of this goes into making your custom formula based on what's going to be available, even all because an herb is plentiful that year doesn't mean it's going to be plentiful next year. We've kind of lost touch with that in our society because we grow things in labs. We grow strawberries year round in labs. Um, so you could be in. My typical one is watermelon in the winter. You can be. It can be winter, and watermelon is one of the coldest herbs in our pharmacopoeia. But you'll eat it in the winter, where you're not supposed to eat it in the winter. But it grows somewhere in the world, and we are so technologically like dependent that we think it's normal. But if you actually live with your land and it doesn't grow in your area at that time, it's probably not right for you at that time. Probably. There's always exceptions, but probably not. An exception is.
I was gonna say, so you said watermelon is like cooling, right? So just because like the high water content, or
It's the nature of watermelon.
okay.
Something can have high water content, and well, water is cooling, so that's a trick question. The high water content helps, but even if you dry powdered watermelon, especially the white part, it's still cooling.
Also, okay, I saw the craziest thing. It was this guy. It was somebody was taking a video of something else, but the guy was eating a slice of watermelon and ate the rind. He bit it, and I've seen people candy watermelon, so I'm not surprised. But he ate it raw. So that no, people just eat raw.
No. I mean, okay. So the part herbs are. If it's hard for you to eat, it's not that you shouldn't be eating it. It's that it's probably an herb. So for me, the difference between herb and food is that herbs are more. They have a stronger effect on your body, and one should be more careful. So if nature didn't set it up for you to eat a whole bunch of it, then maybe don't.
Right.
However, we will use the green part of the watermelon to cool you off, and the white part. That's the part that's in the medicine, the green and white part, not the red part.
Right. That's what I was gonna ask. So that's like dried out and ground up.
Yep. Which people have to be wary, or have to be in the know that's when we're talking to an herbalist. We want to know, what part are you using? What part of the plant are you using? Because, which plant is it? Yeah, sanchi, or is it dangui? Yep, dangui or sanchi. Okay, anyway, there's a plant I have to look up. But the root of the plant stops bleeding, and then the top of the plant invigorates blood. So if you wanted to stop bleeding and you just use this plant, you use the wrong part, you make it worse. You bleed out.
Wow.
Right? But if you had to like invigorate blood and you use stop bleeding, you might have a stroke from the clot that you caused. Like, don't play with I know that I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this kind of thing. Be called like a gatekeeper or whatever. I'm not doing it for that. I'm just, if you know more, if you come to classes and you know about herbs, it's not a bragging right. It's not a gatekeeping thing where, hey, I don't want you to use this because you're going to like take my job. Like, there are so many people suffering. Help. Like, help. But don't kill your patient. And don't hurt yourself. And, oh my God, it breaks my heart. Don't hurt your family. I downplay, that time where I wasn't breastfed because of the doctors told my mom what to do. I'm sure my mom feels amazingly guilty for that. Like, she hurt me. She probably does. So I try to downplay it a lot. And I don't hold it against her at all. And I wish I never told her about colostrum. Because she felt guilty.
Now, also, how helpful is like a colostrum supplement? Like, is that helpful to even take?
I'd have to look at I'd have to look at the research and everything. Okay, so the general rule in herbs, it comes with a story which I will not tell right now. But basically, everything has a use. Everything. If you can diagnose and use it properly. So, my biggest thing is not, oh, is colostrum good or not good? Is your diagnosis proper? And is that the thing that's available to you? And is it going to work? Do you have the wisdom behind you? Do you have the experience behind you? Even if it's not direct experience from you, do you have other physicians who have had that experience, or is it written somewhere in a resource that has some sort of proof that you can believe? You got to do your own thinking. Over time, you get better. So colostrum, I don't know. I don't know that I've seen it work at all directly. I don't know that I've heard it working. I think it's just, for me, right now in my hypothesis, my current running hypothesis, is I wouldn't depend upon it because first of all, I don't know any physician using it correctly that just raves about it. I haven't seen results. I haven't felt any results. I have had it before. I thought because I wasn't breastfed that I should take colostrum, and I did, but I can't say it made any difference.
Mm-hmm.
What made the best difference?
Right. I mean, to like make up for what you didn't get then.
I don't think so.
But I just was wondering, like, if it was still like nutritionally beneficial, or.
I mean, it has nutrition in it, but the price we pay for gathering it, I don't know if I also think mental health counts too. Like, I don't think the placebo effect is bad. I mean, I don't like the idea of taking the colostrum away from the calf. First of all, like, personally, I think we can do better. I don't know that it is, if it is the only cure for something, it would be a rare disease, and I don't know that you have to have it widespread like that. I mean, even out of compassion, like, can you imagine, like, having a baby and then denying your child the first immune milk, and then somebody else wanting to take it for healthy skin?
I don't know that they use like human colostrum. I know that the supplement that I've seen is like, I think it's like bovine colostrum.
Yeah, from the cow.
But it's
right.
Yeah. But even still, like,
you're robbing the calf.
Don't do that, but right. Like,
not that you're robbing the calf, but you can also be like hurting yourself. No proof at all. But could mad cow disease, because the calf didn't develop an immune system? Could mad cow, like a digestive issue, happen? Yes, absolutely. I think so. Happened to me.
Mm.
Could a digestive issue happen in the cow, which we just don't care about because we're going to kill it pretty soon? But what if that makes the meat full of, what if it's introducing like new bacteria to the system? Which is fine, we can deal with bacteria, but not at the rate in which we are introducing it, possibly. Maybe grass-fed is not the issue. Like, are your calves allowed to nurse from their mother? Do they get their emotional needs met? Because stress hormones, right? Like, can human stress be felt by eating the meat of a cow or calf that was stressed out? Does the hormone pass through? Does the energy pass through? I would argue yes. I mean, it's such a macro way to look at the world. Oh, oh, did you freeze? Maybe you froze a little bit. No. Oh, you sit so still. Oh, it's a macro way to look at the world, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it on another podcast or another meeting. But yeah, yes, absolutely. If anyone wants to look up Masaru Emoto and the experiments he did with water crystals, um, it's undeniable that emotions fix. So maybe it's not the colostrum. Maybe you can, before the meat gets to your table, you can change the water structure. You can, if I do have to eat that kind of thing, um, I imagine that the animal that gave its life is being blessed through my consumption. Like, I thank it very deeply. And yeah, we can't just break it down into simple chemistry. Even we can even find like variations in experiments due to the experimenter's bias. That's already proven. The experimenter has a bias. So possibly what you want to believe about colostrum can be true. But is there hard evidence? No, I haven't seen. Have I found it to work? No. Perhaps there's a story here or there. It does help your skin. I do think I've heard a few testimonials about that. But you can put other things on your skin. Holistic means like for everyone's benefit, not just where it stops on your body, but is it sustainable? Is it sustainable? Is it sustainable in a way that will make everyone happy and healthy? This is Ayurveda. This is the wonderful thing about Ayurveda is it sets you up to advance, like get advanced. What do you call it? Like to be more wise, basically. You can trust your analysis. You can think for yourself. You can make your own decisions without harming others. Like the first rule is nonviolence. Cool. So primarily in the winter, you want to favor hot and humid, thick stews. Right? This is where one would cull the herd or slaughter, right? Because these are the ones that wouldn't make it through the winter. So not in a way where I like to eat meat kind of way, but that you don't want the life to go to waste. You don't have to eat meat at all if you don't want to. And you can just bury it and it goes back into the earth and it'll feed the earth. It'll feed someone. Anyway. Whoever eats it, it'll feed someone. And it's called culling the herd. Yeah. Keeping nature in balance. I think that can be a slippery slope if we try to justify it. Anyway, it is if it is and it isn't if it isn't. No need to name what you are or not. No need to have like a strong stance on anything. Just do whatever is available. But naturally, in the winter, it is time to draw inward into stillness. What I'm trying to say is, if you have like stews available to you, in Asia there were very, very little raising of cows for meat, so we don't have this kind of like digestion. A lot of Asians are lactose intolerant, like truly lactose intolerant. We don't have this tradition. except for Indians, right? Indians drink a lot of milk, but in like, not that they're not Asian, they are, but in East Asia, there are less and less cows. I don't know why, less and less cows. But if you have it available to you, chicken is like East Asia, like they believe in chicken as medicine. And if you're from a place where they do eat cows, then the beef can be medicine. However your body or your ancestry evolved. Eat what your ancestors ate for the most part is a pretty good rule. You'll probably do well if you studied what your ancestors ate. You can develop by habit a tolerance for other foods, and you certainly could eat whatever. I can totally eat curry. I'm Japanese, I can eat curry. But I do really well with Japanese food. Seaweed, all day, every day. Where someone else might get the runs having seaweed all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I tolerate seaweed very well.
So wait, how would you say like chicken is used as medicine?
In Chinese medicine, if you go to Chinatown, they actually raise black chickens. Black is the color of your life force. Your question, maybe I'm a little fuzzy on your question, but you're like, how is chicken a medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
By observation, by seeing.
Well, just like what is it used for, like as a medicine?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Obviously, like I know, like chicken soup
for making you strong.
And chicken broth
Yeah.
and all of that. I know that much, but I was just wondering if like there was something that I wasn't like thinking of.
The chicken and the eggs from the chicken, like how cows are holy in India. Probably how we got the term holy cow. Like that's Indian, right? They know how to use the medicine. They know how to use all the parts of the milk from the cow. Even the dung, even the cow's urine, everything that comes out of the cow, they will not eat the cow, but the cow's urine, is sterile and it is a medicine. I know, sounds funny. The dung is amazingly sterile as well, amazingly not bacterial. You can use the dung as and put it with grass, and it has grass in it, to build a hut, and your house will have less disease in it. I know it's just like not conventional, but the cow's products were found to be beneficial to humans, was developed that way. They really respect the cow in India. In the same way, the cow has become very holy. Nandi, the wish fulfilling, is seen as this thing that brings all of your wishes. You can sell the milk, you can make a living, you don't starve. It builds your house, it keeps bacteria away. It's medicine. Like cow in India is like this. Chicken in other parts of the world, I know Spain, very chicken based. East Asia, very chicken based. They even have statues of chicken. They learn how to utilize every part as medicine. So it's not other things don't have medicine. It's very developed. The chicken egg in Japan, they maybe don't believe in salmonella because they don't raise their chickens that way. Salmonella is due to caging in your chickens 24/7, so that they're laying eggs in their own poop and stuff. They're not free roaming. In Hawaii, we have free roaming chickens. Seriously, we go to the park and there's a bunch of chickens scratching up the ground trying to find worms. Seriously, that's how the chickens are. And if you find an egg, you get to keep an egg. Egg hunt, right? But they won't lay their eggs if they can in their poop. That's where salmonella comes from the outside of the egg, not the inside. The inside is sterile. So Japanese folks will crack a raw egg on rice, and the heat from the rice will cook it a little, but it's pretty much raw. Where in the West, we're afraid of raw eggs. We even think it has to be
Yeah.
refrigerated. It doesn't. Where in nature does the chicken lay their egg in a refrigerator?
Well, I thought the issue with like eggs was when they washed off whatever the coating that was on the eggs. So if they're like fresh and from the farm and fresh from the
And
chicken,
not from the
they
poop
can sit
pile.
outside.
Oh yeah, it absolutely could sit outside for a while, because it does. How do you think the chick grows? Like not in the refrigerator. It's sitting outside for a while. You could eat it in Philippines. They eat. Oh, we won't talk about the Filipinos. They eat it like
Oh,
at any stage. You know what I mean? But is called. But anyway, we're nourishing the. To answer your question, it's not the animal itself that has this property. Again, it's the knowledge. It's the knowledge that gets developed about the medicine. So many things can be medicine, but I am very wary of new medicines. New medicines have not been tested over time for long term effects. It's not sophisticated enough yet for me to use. It's why I go to the classics. It's why we have a lineage passed down from teacher to student, so we don't lose the experience. I read so, like, if I had my books here, where are they? In LA, a lot of my books are in LA. Oh yeah, and I put them in on my bookshelf over there. But I continuously read other physicians' experiences continuously, whether it be a CEU that I'm attending or from the classics, difficult issues, Nanjing difficult issues. Times haven't changed all that much. When COVID broke out, when swine flu broke out, when bird flu broke out, in Chinese medicine, we have a answer to it. You know, all of us like Eastern herbalists weren't afraid at all. We're like, oh, this is like we're just gonna use our virus herbs. Till this day, Western medicine has no answer to virus. Western medicine has nothing. Eastern medicine has for thousands of years, and it's just not respected, I guess, if I could go that far as to say that. But that's okay. We're not scared. I mean, we're not the ones scared. The pride of like, I think the conventional schooling system does a lot of people a disservice in saving their lives. So we have a formula called Virus Zapper, which a lot of folks used, a lot of folks who knew used, and I was too, like, I told people who I could trust. You know, you wonder why, like Eastern folks keep their medicine guarded. It's not because they don't want you to be well. It's because we don't know who's gonna throw us in jail. Like, who's gonna call the cops saying stuff. But people who knew got the virus zapper, and it tastes horrible. So Nigel was kind enough to put it in capsules. I gave some to my mom. I said, every time you go out during COVID, take 2 capsules before you go out and take 4 when you come back. Wash your hands, do all of that stuff. Wash your hands, wash your face, change your clothes. Our washer dryer is outside. So we have an entryway, and then change your clothes, put your clothes by the door, change your clothes, put it in the washer, wash it. Stick it in the sun. In Hawaii we have a lot of sun. In Vegas I would have done the same. Let the sun kill everything. Hang it up outside. UV light free, right? Why couldn't people who were into holistic medicine, some of them, caught COVID and died, but a lot of them didn't. Some of them had, like, I would say, the underlying issues. No one I know caught COVID and died from being completely knowledgeable about Chinese medicine. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, one of the people, the family that produce our herbs, very talented in terms of knowing how to prepare herbs. That's another subject we could get into. Very deep processing herbs. There are families that are trusted for that. The people who make our herbs is one of those families. Oh my gosh. If you don't get it from them, you're like just, if you don't get it from them making it out of experience, when those herbs hit my system, they produce the change I want. So they're using modern technology to guarantee minimal active ingredient. And it's a very expensive test. And that's why it costs that much, because Chinese don't believe in expensive medicine. They want to make it as cheap as possible. But it costs that much because the testing is very expensive to guarantee. Because they only sell to doctors and they need it to work. So if you don't know how to process herbs, that's a whole nother problem. You could burn your herbs. You could go to Chinatown and they give you the raw herbs, and it could feel like you're really cool because you get these like cool packets of herbs, right? It could feel nostalgic. But if you don't know how to cook it properly, it's very expensive to waste. And it won't taste good either. You suffer all that time just being cool. But cooking is selecting the herbs, all because you grow ginseng in your backyard doesn't mean it'll have the medicinal properties that there are families that specialize in growing it for medicine. 500 years minimum, or we don't trust you. Because it has to have results season after season after season. So look at all the care that goes into like medicine. The Ayurveda doctors know where to gather. They know because they have had an internship with a doctor, and it's not this easy. It's like your mom saying, okay, when you stir the stew, it gets about this thick, it's done, turn it off. Or you could describe it with 1,000,000 words in a book, never have the experience, and fail. You have to have the experience. So if you intern, you can just be like, oh, it's supposed to smell like that. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Smell this, this is not a good one. Look at it, this is not a good one. Look at it, this is a good one. The tests that you go through. It's plump, but then like apples, right? Apples can be, apples bought in a grocery store don't smell like apples. To the point where when you get apple candy, you're unfamiliar with how apples smell. I'm not joking. You buy like a non-organic apple.
Oh no, I was just laughing at the fact that like candy never tastes like the fruit.
Right.
Smell.
Right.
It is.
And then you start growing your own. Like I'm from Hawaii, right? We have a lot of trees. The mangoes when I got here was like, no, what's going on? I buy it from the Indian store. They know how to do stuff with mangoes. The papayas, like, what happened? Because I was spoiled, I got it off the tree. The lychees, no. Star fruit, no. It's not a good one. It's not a good one. But it's all I have, so I eat it. But it's not a good one. You have to have that experience of, oh, this is a good one. That's why people travel to study culinary arts, because you cannot replicate something picked right off the tree. You can't bring the tree to you. You got to go there. You know? Mm-hmm. I've got eggs right now. For the first time in my life, I have fresh eggs at my disposal. I can have several a day. Mm. And I can honestly tell you, I don't see a difference between store-bought eggs and the fresh eggs. Because without giving too much away, these chickens, I don't know if this is significant, pretty much stay in their cage their whole life. Not their little cage, it's a pretty big cage, but they don't dig up worms and stuff like that. The farmers market eggs at Baldwin Hills, those blue ones, ooh, that yolk is so rich. I prefer to eat that farmer's eggs. You have to know what is a good one. It feels better. It cooks better. I'd rather have those blue eggs. I think his name is Oscar at Baldwin Hills. But sometimes he has like a bunch of those eggs, different colors. I bet they treat their chickens right. You have to have that experience of being able to be exposed to what we call prana or life force in the food. You have to be exposed to what that feels like. And then when you eat the food, that will happen. It sort of mimics caffeine. We're not looking for a caffeine spike. We're not looking for a sugar spike. But it sort of feels the same. Sugar is said to increase your chi or your energy. Caffeine does the same thing. But any food that has prana in it, without caffeine, without sugar, will also have you feeling alive. When you practice Tai Chi and Qigong, we point out this is what alive feels like. You will feel relaxed without being tired, energetic without being manic. You'll be amazingly strong like Kung Fu master. But not angry. Like anger, it's not where you get your strength from. You'll be compassionate, loving, and very competent and intelligent. Like all those things come with life force. If those things are missing, diet, exercise, or sleep is something wrong. Something wrong in your lifestyle. Can you make up for it? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen people make up for a rough start yet. Only because I've seen growing up with nature, blessed enough to be born in Hawaii, blessed enough to be like exposed to gardening. You know, my grandmother really believed in half an hour in the garden makes you live longer. Maybe she was in the sun, who knows, but she ate fresh. Blessed enough to be exposed to what strength looks like and what health can look like. And sadly, when I moved to California, and I was in the city, I've never seen that kind of like systemic body strength, weakness in kids ever. I think it's gone out of the memory of the people in LA. Like the strongest people I saw when I came to LA were the people that were from Mexico. Like the Mexicans, their beans and rice, but the way they live probably in nature, that's about like a Hawaiian. Like growing up, swimming in the ocean, a clean ocean, climbing the mountain, not because you want to hike. Like that's not a hobby. We just had to go home, you know? But we were exposed to the elements the whole time. Like going to my auntie's house after school was a mount. It's not a hill. It was a mountain. I climbed up every day. I hate hiking till this day. Like it's not something I would do, but it's something I had to do. And I grew up that way, so my body was, I don't know, trained by nature. The current of the ocean, gives a little bit of resistance. The winds in the mountains, the kiss of the mist, and the respect for nature that we grew up with is a cardinal sin to throw. I see people in the city like throw their fast food bag out of their window. I've never seen that. That would never happen in Hawaii. If it did, everyone would like come around you and tell you to pick it up. Like, we don't deface nature that way. Um, we try to keep things clean. Like, cleanliness can also be something where it's a factor. We can talk about these things one by one if we ever deep dive into anything. Um, Hopefully we capture it. I don't know. But no, I've not seen and I've known my kids, my kung fu kids, my students, some of them since they were born, and I've not seen yet, and I hope I do see, but I've not seen any of them make up for a bad start, sadly. My uncle, that's the last thing I'll say about it, but my uncle and my mom were here. They're in their late 70s, 80s, early 80s, and they're still strong. And we were talking about why they were strong. They said one, probably DNA, probably genes. Like, much of my family, no matter if they smoke, drink, or whatever. Well, drinking usually kills us, but my grandma drank a little shot of wine every night, and she lived to 105. The smokers are doing fine. My mom smokes since she was a teenager. She's 80 something now.
Red wine?
Red wine, yeah. The cheapest red wine. It does not even good quality, just something to move her blood. She said
Yeah.
she said it moved the blood to the fingers and toes, and that was important. It didn't make her go to sleep. It didn't make her drowsy. Just a shot, like 1 ounce of red wine. But genes, and then we were contemplating maybe because we grew up on food with a lot of, like, right from the backyard, like with a lot of prana in it. We don't call it that. We call it chi or ki in Japanese, but with a lot of like life force still in it, fresh from the ocean. We had fishermen in our family that straight from the ocean on the grill. That's it, like straight from the ocean in your mouth. Couldn't get fresher. So we think that is a factor. And Ayurveda would agree, diet, exercise. And then sleep. Sleep got ruined when TV started to go into the late show. But we didn't have that when I was a kid, like, or I wasn't allowed to watch it. So we went to bed at a reasonable hour. I grew up at a time where if you called somebody after 8 p.m., that was rude. Like, they might be going to bed. And till this day, I keep that same rule. Even if people don't go to bed till... These days, I hear, oh, I go to bed early, like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, whoa. Sun's been down for like 5 hours already. Aren't you sleepy? No, because we have all these lights in the house.
That's me. 11 is early for me.
Yeah, well, you're modern, you're a modern girl, city girl.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is like at this point, like I don't slow down until the child goes to sleep at 9 o'clock. So.
Yeah.
And then down, like, yes, do I want to go to sleep? But do I also have other things I need to do? So.
Yep. That's a whole conversation. Why we have all these things we need to do.
Yeah. Bills gotta get paid.
Bills gotta get paid. That's modern life. I mean, my dad said the only 3 things you gotta do is eat, sleep, and poop. Now you're an adult now.
Oh, man.
Hang loose, like slow down, chill out. You can have it as a strategy. Place yourself in a situation where nature supports you. It's called feng shui. Right? Like, Chinese folks will like to be around a mountain. It naturally supports you. And if push comes to shove, your fruit trees will keep you healthy. You don't save you money on groceries. Modest home. They will pull together to buy a home and support each other. Teamwork is another thing. Like, your social group, your family. Do they work together? Like, that might be a sore topic for some folks. But I think at some point we need to broach it and get back to that kind of community, even if it's a family you pick. You know, I'm so far away from my blood kin in Hawaii, so I make my own here. I just nourish relationships wherever I can. I think that's smart to do, to help others and to create a community where you help each other. I think is downplayed quite a bit. LA has like millions of people. How do you not have a bunch of folks that work together? I heard the numerology of Los Angeles is one, that's why. It's very an independent, creative place, but folks don't work together. I see that. You can't get a ride to the, well, not you, but, not me, but you can't get a ride to the airport. In Hawaii, you don't dare call anyone but me to pick you up. And drop you off.
Luckily, that is one. Well, like the handful of times that I haven't gotten a ride is probably either I didn't want one. Most of the time, I didn't get rides is when I lived the closest to the airport.
So what?
But being somebody that will love me enough to be a ride.
Yeah. You know, it's a time. It's. I didn't know, and no one. I don't think anyone thought of it this way. But you talk on the ride to the airport. You develop relationship on the ride to the airport and on the ride back. You wish someone a good bon voyage, and you welcome them home. Like, I think I took that for granted. You know, that kind of, in Japan we say, like, when we're leaving the house, we announce it. We say, yeah, we say like, itekimasu. I'm leaving. It's so rude. Like, for me as a Japanese person, like, if you leave my house and you don't say bye, like, that's really rude. So for your nuclear family, if you're going to school or work or something, and you don't say, hey, I'm leaving, and then the other person doesn't acknowledge, it's really rude. Like, itekimasu, itterashai, like, goodbye. You know, maybe it's the last time you see that person. And then when they come home, you say, I'm here, tadaima, you know? And then they'll say, like, welcome home. Itterashai, like, oh, maybe I got the words wrong. It's been a long time. I don't have anyone living with me. But Nigel will say it when he leaves. In the dojo, when I had a dojo, I call it community center. It turned into that, but it was first a place of martial arts. You have to bow when you come in. I cannot, and you have to think in your head about being respectful, thanking your parents that you're here, doing your best. It's like, gambate, I'm gonna do my best when I'm here. Making an effort, setting your intention when you step into the dojo. Then when you leave and you bow going out of the dojo, you bow facing into the dojo to, like, be grateful for what just happened. And it's in that culture. I think that helps. I hope that helps. And it doesn't have to be in the same way, but I think that sort of, we call it gratitude now. There's lots of, it's really a culture. It's really popular in culture for people to wake up with gratitude. Like, the West is like playing around with it. It's not ingrained yet. I think that's also some of the soft part of this art that needs to happen. Those sorts of habits of habitually bowing. You know, when a Japanese school, when we start class, we actually say hello to each other. The teacher will be like, kiretsu, everyone will stand up, you know, in respect. Everyone will stand up, all the kids will stand up. And she'll say, minasan, or everyone, good morning, everyone. And then all the kids will say, teacher, good morning. And then They'll stand until she says sit down. And she'll say, ah, swate, kudasai, let's begin. Like a little ritual to begin. Not just, no one will dare be straggling in or like fussing through their bag while the teacher's talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting up. I've been in classrooms in the US where kids were like it was like optional to be there. Like they were eating or playing with their phones or just getting up and leaving and coming back when they want. Like what? I've been at schools like that where I was a guest speaker. I was speaking. And I don't know why I was speaking because no one was listening. Maybe one or two. You know, for career day. I guess if you're not interested, just leave, but don't come back. Like that's very Japanese. God, don't come back. Don't come here. In my dojo, I was not American. I was not training them like I'm American. I was training them like a Japanese kids. So they are more like disciplined. Nigel grew up in that. Oh, no, I shouldn't say his name. Like, Ube enthusiast grew up in that. And now, I mean, of course it was hard back then, but now he thanks me. He's about 30 now, and I like the way this kid is turning out, you know? He's going to be able to take care of himself and others. And it's in no small part to the discipline. Which if you're going to do Ayurveda, like that's already assumed, you know? All these little things are assumed in holistic medicine. It doesn't fit the instant gratification model. Eventually, the instant gratification model, you just get tired of it failing, but maybe by then it's too late. So, but what can we do? We can only educate, right? We can only spread the ideas, hope it takes root. We can only plant the seeds, hope it blooms into something. And that's what we're doing here every week. Wednesdays, 9 o'clock Pacific, right? And then I'll do bonus streams, so you'll have to follow me. And you'll have to put on your alerts because I'll just stream at other random times. We were talking about Monday, but we'll see. We're talking about Monday. But for sure Wednesday and other random times. Like Sharice and I get together on Mondays anyway. So as long as we do, we can probably stream on Mondays too. Mm-hmm. As long as we do. But if you're not here, I'm not just going to stream on Mondays. I need to be held accountable somewhere.
Right.
And it has to have a purpose. We can't just stream on Mondays and have nothing to talk about.
Right.
I doubt we'll have nothing to talk about ever.
I mean, that will be hard. Been 2.5 hours, so I don't think that's...
I know, right?
But this was with just kind of breezing through some of the stuff and touching on like points here and there. You even go through a lot of the slides. So
yeah, this is how we exist in Hawaii. This is how we talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Whatever. It's a flow, right? I mean, you can read a PowerPoint. You can understand, and we can have a framework, but then in the framework, we treat each other as human beings with real concerns for right now. The timing of it is that the timing for me is that you, a human being, is sitting in front of me right now. You matter more to me because you're here and than this slide. Like whatever's going on with you is priority. If we can tie it in to the slide, I try to tie it into what the subject matter is. But priority, man, like the person sitting in front of you or the animal sitting in front of you, when I'm dog sitting or pet sitting or whatever, my priority is straight. Like I know I have to go brush my teeth, but the dog needs to pee. I think that's first. I don't need to pee right now. Like, his urges are first because he's a living being. If the fish are suffocating because there's muck in the pond, I'm going to do that first. Right? So those sorts of things are not assumed in Ayurveda. Those are not assumed. That's more like the people who should be nurses, people who should be attendants, and people who should be doctors. That's the kind of attitude they have to have. So if you are the caretaker for your house, I'm sure you already do that. You already drop stuff that are less important than the being that's in front of you. And I think, as we talked about last time about me going off on tangents, I think I'm more comfortable with that now because I'm clear in my intention of serving a living being, or else why do this, and actually helping someone. Yeah. But I know this is going to be your season, winter season, too. Yeah, you're doing good anyway. You reduced the sweets. You did it on accident, right? Like, you reduced the sweets this winter.
I mean, kind of intentionally with the intermittent fasting. I just didn't, like, purposely, time it for that. I just had already been cutting back.
For your sinuses? With the intention of
no, just in general, because that's my weakness is eating late and eating too much sugar. So like all summer long. So it was after I had been traveling for the summer and last year was just already dealing with a lot. So a lot of it was emotional eating and
I know.
just stress
eating, yeah.
Being up late and what I'm finding something to do with myself. So once I started doing the intermittent fasting, it just kind of broke me out of that habit. And yeah.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with what happened, Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it happens. I'm glad you caught it. Like, you saw your body, staying up late. You were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't force yourself, which I really like. That you didn't force yourself. That you just noticed, like that. You see that kind of like soft notice. There's so much power in that, to just notice. That's the way to go. So you started intermittent fasting. Started getting yourself. You started noticing you were feeling. Noticing you were feeling, right? That's a great rule to live by. That's what we do in Tai Chi and Qigong, is we notice how we are feeling. We don't try to crush it, wish it was gone. Of course, if it feels bad, you can't wait till it's gone. But it goes away by living through it and processing it. I think a lot of folks, I feel bad for, procrastinate on it, are afraid of it, don't feel safe. And I more than anything would like to be a safe place for that. Even if it's just sitting with them in silence to build safety, I've done that with a few folks where I just hung out with them just until they felt safe. Sometimes they attack you. Sometimes, well, it's not attack you. Sometimes they burst out. Whatever is inside comes out.
Yeah. I saw that. It said something like, you only need, I can't remember if it was 7 minutes or 12 minutes. Like, you just need just a certain block of, like, conversation to...
8, you said. I think you told me last time 8.
Was it? I forgot. I saw it somewhere in...
Or maybe I told you. Who knows? We share stuff all the time. Yeah, just for someone to sit with you. I don't know if it's 8 minutes. I think the freak out part, I've been through folks in the freak out part. I think the freak out part might be 8 minutes. But don't be surprised if some other folks need a lot more. For especially the people who are in fear need a lot more time than 8 minutes. 8 minutes just to get rid of the edge, I think. But I've held babies, I've held my cousins, some more than one of them, overnight. I've held my cousins as babies, infants, toddlers for hours before. And they could take all of that love and more. So my nieces, yeah, my cousins, my whatever. Sometimes kids, not just kids, even adults. Adults are just too, I don't know, in their head about it. But like my sister from another mister just sat with her for hours. My aunties who invite me to lunch in Hawaii, it can be a long time. We bring pastry because it's gonna be a while. We're going to have put the coffee on or the tea on and have pastries, and it's gonna be a while. Somebody just wants to come over and talk. They're asking for what I would consider therapy. I wouldn't call it that. We call it talk story in Hawaii. We just talking like how we talking now. Amazingly helpful.
It is 8 minutes.
8 minutes, yeah. I think I shared it with you or you shared it with me or something, but it was 8 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't know we talked about it.
But that's just to get the edge off. If I had time to sit with everyone I could sit with, I would. Which is probably why we're kind of doing this Twitch. We kind of figured that out, that, can't. You just can't. But with electronics, you can. You can put it on and you can lurk for as much as I can. Commitment? I don't know. Wednesday, 9:00. But if I'm hanging out and Sharice wants to hang out, or anyone else wants to hang out, like I have Zoom. So what we're doing now is we have Zoom, and then I'm just twitching it like anybody else wants to do. Hey, I can do a podcast now, can't I?
Pretty much.
I can hang out with other folks, can't I now?
Yeah, if you have somebody and you're like, oh, this would be a great conversation for our followers.
Or we just have great conversations, you and I. I don't think I thought about like, oh, it would be great to have you and I have a conversation about this topic. I think you and I just naturally
start talking.
I don't know. Have the same interest.
Yeah.
Are on the same page. Whatever.
Mhm. I say that does make a difference. Like when you have that level of like explaining that you have to do to people, it's harder to get more in depth like this. So, like yeah, you can have conversations and talk about anything, but like when you're really like digging deeper into things, and I mean most of our conversations are deeper dives into things that we've already talked about. How does everything connect? So
yeah,
it works.
But the folks watching, they'll piecemeal it together from all the streams. And if they wanted to start from the beginning, they have that option. They can come to a Zoom class, just contact, I don't know if we have just contact whatever socials we have. And Nigel is the guy that you're going to want to talk to set that up. So the way it works is somebody requests something, like Sharice requested an Ayurveda class, and then I just invite everyone around her time that she wanted. We have a pretty much a bigger class usually at night or in the afternoon. 3:00 I have 3:00 I have a Buddhist like Lam Rim class that's already gotten going. We're on book 2 already, but Lam Rim, like Buddhism, is something that I'm interested in talking, not just for myself, just to get my skills and my practice like spot on, but I think it's very beneficial to know about karma, know how it works more exactly, to learn how we get reincarnated, and what we can do to reduce the most amount of suffering. Ayurveda is supposed to set you up for some sort of more in-depth spiritual practice. We don't start by meditating. We start by getting our body healthy, by sleeping on time, by exercising, by getting our physical body properly attuned. Tai Chi, whatever your thing is, yoga, whatever your thing is. As long as it has breath in it, it should be fine. And it's relaxing. And it emphasizes relaxation and not pushing. So not sports. You can say, oh, I can get my exercise from sports. Not sports, because the mind isn't trained in that way. Traditional martial arts will train your ethics and your compassion. Whatever you're getting into has to train those soft things as proper exercise. The mind and body are not separate. So you're training mostly the body, a little bit of the mind when you start off. And then that starts to invert. And now your mind will be able to influence your body very, very much. It already does, but in the way you want it to. Not in a negative way. It already can influence it very strongly in a negative way, usually in a positive way that has to be trained. And after Ayurveda, we kind of start, at the end of Ayurveda, we start talking about the mind more and more and more, and it starts to invert. And we can get into the sutras, the yoga sutras of Patanjali, and talk about ahimsa directly, and talk about pranayam. We can practice and practice and practice to meditation. But for me, if you're on the same path as me, we go beyond the Vedas, which is, gosh, I don't know how to say this, but Buddha science goes beyond that. And that's just an invitation. That's not at all a requirement. In fact, I don't know if you're starting off like just in Ayurveda is new to you. I don't know even in this lifetime you will want to go that far or can go that far. No offense. You'll see when we calculate, it does take some lifetimes. But my only job is to have you to have a influence upon you, so that we can meet again in future lifetimes, and move forward, and keep going forward until you don't have to suffer at all. That's the whole point. Like Ayurveda is like this: reduce suffering, reduce suffering, reduce suffering, reduce suffering, until you get to the point you're going to have to explore the mind. You're going to have to explore existential topics. Then be completely free. We call this nirvana, or escape from samsara. Yep, that's the point. This invitation. But yeah, so we'll not run. I promise you, we'll not run out this lifetime. What we talk about. Because the wisdom already is through lifetimes. You already had some you came in with.